All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, of course. Rifkin here with me as well. Let me just adjust my camera. I do apologize. Rifkin, how's it going? You have a good break?
Yeah, I got some food for lunch during your broadcast. That was pretty cool. This is a unique experience, to say the least.
Wow. There we go. All right, game's already started. Now, this is the loser's bracket, ladies and gentlemen, and down in the bottom left-hand corner, just squeaking himself out a third victory against Death Row. But down in the bottom left-hand corner, doing a fabulous job representing his sponsor, ASUS, ladies and gentlemen, is Desro.
And of course, you can find him on Twitter at Desro Fighting. Desro, make a bit of a joke here, is when it does go to China, second place gets a chair, I believe is how it works out.
Yes, it is actually the winner of this because... wait, no, that's right. The winner of this will get. Yeah, I'm all kinds of screwed up here.
No, I just love what they're saying right now. They're both just saying, all right, well, regardless, we both beat Hengelisk, right? He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is just too good. Jig is actually a character. I love talking to him. He's great. We're going to try and do an interview with a little bit later on. Could you introduce our player up in the top left-hand corner, please?
Yes, playing for Killing Spree, it's the Pink Zerg player Jig. And he as well has a Twitter. If you guys want to follow him, go check him out. It's at KSJig.
Yes, indeedy. And of course, this is a best 2 out of 3 in the loser's bracket. Loser goes home. Because of the prizing, though, I do think they'll be doing a third and fourth placing match just to determine who's the third place, and we'll get the Gigabyte motherboard prize. Second place finish, obviously, the winner of this will advance on to play against Hengelisk in the finals, the grand finals.
Now, there's actually something really important to note about that. A lot of people don't know how double elimination works. Very few tournaments actually use it. And the basis of it is, guys, Hengelisk has basically 2 lives. So let's say in a hypothetical world, Desro beats Jig, and Desro's going to fight Hengelisk in the finals. Desro actually has to win 2 best of 3s in order to win it all. Hengelisk only has to win 1. So he's in a really good spot where he is right now.
I even think the final, they're planning on going with best 3 out of 5 for the grand final itself. I'm not
really, for double elim?
Yeah, even for a double elim. I'm going to double check on that and let you guys know. I think there was some discussion about it early in the planning phases of this, so I will look into it, I will find out, and I'll let you know. And this was definitely, it was a pool first into a hatch by Jig. Very, very safe opener here as well. I should point out, he did not grab his gas, but it is a very safe opener. It allows him to get some lings out in the event that he needs to in order to kind of dissuade any early aggression out of Desro. But Desro actually opting to go for that Forge Fast Expand. And this should be fairly safe for him. He's not going to have to worry too much about a lot of ling aggression. There's only 2 on the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much about ling aggression, so much as it is worrying about that probe. If he puts a pylon down, if he starts cannon rushing, or even if he just cannon block, or not cannon, sorry, pylon blocks, you're natural. You need 2 lings to clean it up. And this is why just about every single Zerg player in the world will go pool first. There are some players who will play greedy enough to go for a hatch first on a map like Whirlwind, but that's specifically tailored to the fact that it's a map like Whirlwind. You get that blind sort of advantage. No, your opponent doesn't know where you spawn initially.
Yep, indeed, and actually killing off that probe is a great thing for Jig. Jig has expanded as well. This has been noticed by Desro, so Desro, at the same token, there's nothing he can do about it. He's just got to sit back and continue to macro up as best as he can on his 2 bases, while Jig will have to very, very aggressively drone to try and get that big economy that Zerg is known for in the mid to late game, and in fact, actually, in a lot of cases, kind of need to be able to take on a Protoss player such as Desro.
Yeah, once again, I was stuck with Jig a bit between games, and he's still feeling confident as ever. I don't know if that's a mask he's putting on because he doesn't want the world to know he's really nervous, or if he's actually really legitimately confident, but he feels he can take Desro down.
Yeah, he really does. I was speaking with him in person. He actually looks like he's... I don't think he's joking. I think he's actually serious when he says, yeah, I have no problem with Desro. Maybe he's done the homework, and this is kind of the thing between these 2 players. Jig doesn't have a pile of replays out there. I did a quick search all last week to try and, I wouldn't even call it quick, it was a bit of a lengthy search trying to find replays for Jig. There's not many out there. There's not many references that you can look at to try and to determine how he plays, what is his style. Desro, on the other hand, is an active streamer, and almost anybody can tune in and see how Desro plays. And so Jig definitely has a bit of a, I guess you could say, an educational advantage if he did do his homework before jumping into this tournament.
Well, yeah, while he might not have VODs out there, replays out there are VODs of Jig, as he has been competing in a lot of tournaments recently. Like I said, kind of this French-Canadian guy who came out of nowhere and like hit the scene big, taking a lot of victories, taking victories he shouldn't have, making it to the finals. Maybe not securing the finals, but I mean, still, he's shown that he's worth quite a bit.
He is, and he's in a great place. Team Killing Spree must be exceedingly happy with his performance so far in this tournament, as well as in others. He's definitely building a name for himself, and people are starting to pay attention. Even guys like Hendrisk are very much well aware of him, and I'm sure a lot of the esports community watching this stream right now are also paying good, close attention to him and where he's going right now. And Roach one going down, also taking up 2 gases as well as the 2 that are in his main, quickly saturating the one on the left, as I'm sure you guys just noticed. And also, very interestingly, taking a very good, quick 4th on the right-hand side.
Oh, but look what Desro's doing. He's banking on Jig, not going for a quick layer. Seeing that Jig's gone for something crazy greedy like 4 bases means he's not going to have the resources to get a layer out. Dark Templar are going to work perfect. Now, the layer is on the way, but there's going to be like 1 Overseer on the field because nobody predicts Dark Templar coming out this early, not without scouting it, and Jig has not scouted it.
No, and I should also point out that Desro's also playing not only that really well, but he's also expanded and also building himself up as SimCity. So he's just positioning himself again and again so well. DTs are going to be detrimental at this point, and like you say, without lair, that's a good 40 seconds away.
That's the thing, like the layer should have been done. An Overseer might have even been morphed, or even speed had been made so that he could, or it's not speed, what am I saying here? Pneumatize Carapace, rather, so he could start speeding into the main and scout, but neither of those things are really going to play into Jig's favor. What is happening here? A macro hatchery at the 4th base location.
Yeah, and they're going to actually catch that pylon over on the right-hand side here and take care of it, but that is also going to reveal what's going on, and DTs are actually getting warped in off that pylon at the same time. I'm absolutely 100% certain that Jig knows what is up.
I don't think he does.
Oh, wait.
No Overseers. He's got a Spore Core, but he canceled it.
No,
Where
he's
are
not.
the Overseers?
He's not building sport. He's going to have nothing here. These DTs are going to do
base.
whatever they want. Yeah, 1 for each base. It's going to be so hard for Jig to be able to minimize losses here.
Oh, what a mistake. He should have seen us warping in. Overseer now starting to be created here between the 3rd and the natural. But so many drones have been killed already. Already up to 20 worker kills.
Workers are actually being transferred from one base right on over to the other. And definitely the DTs are going to start getting to work on taking care of things. Overseers have shown up. Same with the Roaches. They are going to get mopped up, at least in the natural. Up in the main is also clear DTs.
30 workers for 3 DTs. That was a small investment and absolutely worthwhile. This 3rd one still is not cleaned up. 12 kills, and it should be able to take the hatchery down.
Indeed, and also just taking a look at this DT and the Mothership Core are going to continue working away on that 4th base. There's nothing really there to be able to really handle it for the most part. Roaches are going to head on over with the support of the Overseer. They will take care of it, but I think that this 1 hatch is going to drop before the Roaches arrive. It's going to be close.
It'll go down. The Mothership Core still here. Nothing can shoot up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So it does drop, and it'll just they'll go over and take care of the other hatch. This is a bit of a predicament for Jig right now as it sits. 64 to 61 workers in the favor of Desro, surprisingly. Normally in this particular case, Jig is the one who's supposed to have more workers, but those DTs so effective early on. A patch of upgrades actually just finishing off 1+1+1, as well as glial reconstitution, and that's +1 missile attacks. So those Roaches are actually going to be quite strong. +2 Protoss ground weapons is also being researched here as well. So. And it does look like the Stalkers of Desro are going to move on up into that 3rd now.
And that's a lot of Stalkers coming into the 3rd. Ooh. Despite the fact there's a macro hatchery here, there's just not a lot of units here. Roaches are going to funnel in, but of course Desro can recall. Let's not forget, he looks like he's going to set up to do so. He's a bit of a fight.
They are blinking back, but it looks like he's just trying to position. The other time warp goes down, so he doesn't have enough energy now. He's just got to stand and fight, and there's just so many Roaches now.
I think recalling that would have been a lot better. I mean, he could even blink out to save some of these Stalkers, but
yeah, I agree.
That was a nice donation, I guess, that he made towards Jig.
Yeah, he evened it up pretty good. 44-37 resources lost to 43-93.
Workers just trying to get into the 3rd right now, but they are shut down by a couple Zealots and Stalkers.
Yeah, no problem there. But I should point out that actually 11 more workers were killed in that attack, reducing the numbers from 64 down to 56 in the favor of Desro at this particular point in time. And also 8 more Roaches. However, the Roaches, a very large swarm of them, are heading on back. Desro knows about it. He's got that Mothership Core over top, but
Desro doesn't have sentries. There's no force fields available. Roaches versus Stalkers, there's blink on them, sure, but I mean, he could do a lot of damage.
Indeed, and these Roaches do have good upgrades, 1-1 upgrades compared to the 2 0 upgrades of the Stalkers here. Superior numbers, that's the big question. It's 20 versus 35, thereabouts. And yeah, that would be about right. They are going to push on up here. However, the numbers are starting to dwindle. And Desro backing right on up towards that Nexus Blink Micro, proving invaluable as well. Mothership Core.
Oh, Jig, he's got some roaches. I like this. Going to go for the pylon. Try to cut the warpins, but realizes there's the second pylon. So a little bit not worth it in the end. Resources lost. Still looking very bad for Jig. But of course, let's not forget he's on like 4.5 bases. He does have that macro hatchery at the 3rd, but he's not mining from the 4th.
Indeed, a nice blink forward, taking care of the rest of those roaches as well. Desro in a very commanding position, ladies and gentlemen. But I do need to point out, Army supply is pretty much even, 54 to 54. But I need to point out, roaches are kind of one of those artificial units that shows good numbers as far as Army supply, but actually in reality don't give you good, actual really good numbers. There are only 25 roaches in production right now. For the 120, so rather the for
yeah,
these.
They're cost efficient, but not supply efficient.
They're not supply efficient. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Thank you. That being said, there is 28 Stalkers on the map. There is 1 Dark Templar as well, and Desro looking really good. He's in a great position right now.
Yeah, it's more about the Immortals than these Stalkers even. He's getting a couple on the field right now. Didn't have any prior, but if he pairs up a couple sentries, and I'm talking like only 5 if that, with these Immortals, Desro can push, and he can end Jig's life.
He can, and in often cases, I mean, if he was in a position where he could see the bird's eye view like we do, but I do love the fact he's warped in a couple of sentries, getting ready for that big push, and he's going to go do precisely that. Of course, he's bringing along a couple of, he's probably going to drag along that probe as well. He does have a forward pylon already in position. I don't think Jig knows about it, but he is aware that there is a Zealot over here working away on that 4th base again. And this is just keeping Jig on his back foot the entire time now. Jig has just got to rebuild his army, sit back, take it easy, and then get going.
I'm still perplexed over Jig's choice to go for that fast 4th. Like, that was a really, really greedy way to open this game. And playing against someone like Desro, you can't really afford to play carelessly, hapless, or greedy. I'm making up words as I speak here. But anyways, the army of Desro is going to march towards the natural, and there's nothing Jig can do. If he goes for a base trade, he loses that trade.
He does, and unfortunately it looks like what he's going to be going for. Definitely a lot of Stalkers blinking right on in. Going to snipe the Roach Warren. That is going to be a huge problem as well. Taking care of the natural and then recalling all the way back and into his 3rd to help address all of the roaches, and it's go time.
Nexus won't even go down. Even if Jig tries to focus fire, there's just too many Stalkers, too many Immortals. It drives the army out, and an aggressive blink forward will catch even more roaches. An Immortal that was lagged across the field is here now joining the fight. Yeah, Jig is not looking to be in a good spot at all. 5 Stalkers still across the field, by the way. I want to point out in the natural, Jig still doing damage, still killing a couple roaches.
Yep, trying to kill off as many workers as he can. It's just Desro looking so good right now. He's got a nice big lead. Yep, and a big GG. And Desro is victorious, taking game number 1 in this best 2 out of 3 series. I absolutely love that. That was great play by Desro, I must say. That recall back, doing everything right. Let's just put it that way. Doing absolutely everything right. And I think the only problem with that whole game, for the most part, was that, like you said, taking that 4th might be a bit too much for Jig to have handled there.
Well, like Chad said, raise your pandas, guys. Desro's on a roll. Let's see if he can close this up and go fight Angel. Let's get to finals. I think you're probably going to toss that to commercials, or no?
Very, very fast commercial. We'll be back in just a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're just actually waiting on a couple of players just to get back to their chairs, get everything going on. What do you think is going to happen next, Rifkin?
I don't know. I'm not focused on that right now because I'm going to take this time, since we don't get a lot of time outside the games, to give a shout out to all the people who are regular Base Rate TV fans there in chat. I see Dave Tank, I see Dr. Awesome. Well, he's not regular, but he's my new friend on Twitter. I saw D the Hunter, of course, a lot yesterday. I see some other friendly faces there in chat. I just want to give a big shout out and love to you guys for coming out to support me casting this event here today. And I hope you're enjoying this. I mean, it's WCG Canada. It's my national pride. I got to take some pride once in a while, and if it's going to be something, it might as well be my country.
Absolutely, and why not? And the gameplay here at WCG Canada Finals has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't think of a better way to support your country than casting StarCraft on a weekend.
I did forget Webnut77, so I got to give him some love too.
Absolutely, no love for Nightshade though. It's all good.
Well, of course, you're on stream with me. You're here with me. The guys in chat, they don't get the attention, the love. They're not.
No, they
casting
don't.
the
Actually, I got to say big thank you to Noex for jumping on and helping out with some of the stream admin. He's a regular from my stream, and I would love to thank you for coming on out, big guy. And also, let me just take a quick peek. There was other ones. There's a couple other guys in there. I just can't remember their names I remember seeing them zing on by. But anyway, also, actually, I'd like to make a couple quick shout-outs, if you don't mind me asking, Rifkin. To Twitter. Twitter is a wonderful, wonderful invention, and picked up a lot of followers over this weekend. And I've got to say, Digital Chaos, Wolfie, Jeff the World, and so many others. It was Susan. And let me think.
Jagtress.
The list goes on.
Beautiful StarCraft 2 fan in the universe.
I'm just trying to see here. Is he really? He's the most beautiful.
Jagtress is Susan, dude. Oh yeah, she's very handsome. No, Houseless Gamer, of course, is gonna get mad at me if I don't give him a shout out too, claiming it's a rebroadcast because we're not shouting him out. Get out of here, Houseless Gamer. Yep,
Jagtress, and then of course. So anyway, yeah, we got a lot going on. Okay, it looks like everything is starting to come together. Everybody's saying ready. Desro's requesting just a bit of a delay. We are ready to go. I know the fans are ready to go. And do you want to try to do the color change thing? Because it looks like we're going to be going for orange for Desro, and then...
No, man. No? Saving that for the finals. We got to...
Okay.
We're not gonna whore it out like some cheap floozy in Quebec. We're gonna do this like the national pride of Canada. And we'll save the colors for the finals. I don't know what I was doing with that reference.
It's all good. It's all good. It's been behind us now. Oh, that being said, the game is loading right now. Belshire Vestige, game number 2, WCG Canada. I guess this is the finals of the losers bracket, isn't it? Yeah, this is.
Yes, it is. So the winner of this goes on to fight Hingelsk in the finals of the finals. Is basically what it comes down to. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for WCG Canada. We're here to find out who the hell is going to go represent us in China. I am Rifkin. I'm casting today with Nightshade. And spawning here in the top left corner of the map, representing Killing Spree, representing the French part of Canada, it is Jig. And if you want to follow him on Twitter, guys, please do so at KSJig.
And down in the bottom right-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, obviously trying to go for that second win, taking game number 1 in this series, and representing his sponsor, Asus, ladies and gentlemen, is Desro. And you, of course, can get him at Desro Fighting on Twitter. Make sure you get over to these guys. Get a follow on them. Desro is very active on Twitter, and you can often ask him a lot of questions. He's often cases very, very happy to oblige and answer them. And you can definitely show your support to both of these players by jumping on Twitter and doing precisely that. Of course, you can also check out Rifkin on Twitter at Rif_kin with a Z at the end.
No, that's not even right. That's not even right, dude.
Yeah, it is. At Rifkins, isn't it? Well,
no, we got a G in there.
Kings.
Man, Nightshade, this is why we don't shout casters out.
Yeah.
In case A, you embarrass them, and B, it's all about the players.
That's
Guys,
true.
if you want to find out more about myself and Nightshade, I have been pasting links between games, so please do check us out. But since he gave me a very awkward one, I'll give him a less awkward one. He is, of course, at NightShadeSC2, but that's spelled N-I-T-E Shade SC2.
All right. All right, and then taking a look, Jig expanding first, Hatch first. And as opposed to last game where he went pool first and then into hatch, this is going to be a little bit riskier, but I think it's something that he needs to do if he's going to keep himself into this series. He needs to obviously win this if he plans on continuing. Otherwise, he's just going to place third place in this particular matchup.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this name really wrong, but Nakos in chat asks a really good question. If this is the Canadians and this is the finals, why is nobody wearing lumberjack jackets?
Honestly,
I feel silly wearing this blazer now. I got to go find some flannel.
I have flannel at home, honestly. Like, I legit do, too. Yeah, I kind of feel bad a little bit. I'm sorry. I guess we just try to lend a little bit of professionalism every once in a blue moon, along with all of our courtesy and politeness. And
all we can do is apologize for not wearing flannel.
I'm so sorry for not wearing flannel.
Sorry, we're sorry about that.
we tried. We really did. Please watch us again soon. Anyway. That being said, Desro is, of course, going to one gate expand himself. And, of course, this is based upon entirely seeing that Jig is not doing anything too cheesy, too corny, and that he can expand safely in doing so. And this is mostly because of the fact that I think that spawning pool went down. Yeah, it did go down second, so that is somewhat delayed.
We say not cheesy, not corny, but I in saying that, we have to go back to game one and just Jig. If you listen to this VOD, if you ever hear the voice of Rifkin, why 5 hatch so fast? I don't understand.
Oh, well. This is an interesting map. I am a big fan of it, although I'm interested to see why there is a probe heading on over here to this right-hand corner. I think he's planning on using this to hide some tech.
I would say not. Usually you just have the probe over here so it doesn't get caught by the lings, and you move it up for the pylon later. There's a player named Trend, actually, from Samsung Galaxy who does something similar. He'll hide his probe within this base, and then around the timing in which a player will secure their third, he'll move up and put a pylon down to proxy it, and with about 7 zealots, shut it down. So
nice.
I'm not saying that's what Desro will do, but I'm saying that's what I've seen a lot of players do. And Samsung players, well, they're from Korea, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I would say so. A couple of lings are skedding out on the map here as well. One ling is actually heading right on up there, and Jig is going to catch it and start chasing down that probe as well. You predict it so well. Yeah, the jig is up. Jig's got the gig.
That was low hanging fruit. I just had to pick it. But yeah, so Desro now just going to end up using this probe probably scout. Might throw a pylon down out of desperation if he wants to distract, but I mean realistically, this probe's going to die.
Yeah, it will eventually die. It's just a matter of time. Realistically, there's no real way to stop it.
Well, speed's about to kick in, so. Matter of time is like literally 8 game seconds.
Yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's watch it go down. Yeah. There it goes.
First blood.
Yeah. Awesome. And then, of course, if we take a look back at Jig's base, it looks like he's planning on doing a 2-base build here because double Evo chambers going down, lots of spine crawlers up front for defense just in case anything cheeky happens. The question is which upgrades he's getting. It looks like he's going for melee attack and a carapace as well.
I actually really like this. I had the pleasure of casting the Easter Team Story Cup before coming here today, and I saw Damaga do this like amazing flood of lings against both Protoss and Terran, and it's not something you would expect to work because lings are weak, they're fragile, and they're flimsy. They're meant to be cannon fodder, but against Protoss players who get caught in the open, if they don't have a ton of sentries, there's just no way to deal with that.
Nope, and of course this is going to get scouted by the very well-timed hallucinated Phoenix of Desro. He's going to take a quick peek to see exactly what's going on. And he's going to head on over and see that there is a third on out here. Hopefully this is enough to throw him off a little bit. He must be scratching his head and going, okay, which protect path is he going down? Is he going to go stay at, with lings and going that route? Or is he thinking to himself, okay, maybe he's preparing for something a little bit further on down the road?
Well, typically you'll go for the melee upgrades if you're like. I think Jig's eyes are on the late game. His goal is to make it to the late game. Hell, these 3 spine crawlers even says he doesn't want to fight in the early to mid game. But these lings, oh, that force fit of the ramp a little bit too good. Can he get some more sentries on the way out though? Don't go for the probes, go for the sentries.
Sentries are worth so much more, but unfortunately Jig does not get those kills on those sentries that we were recommending, but he couldn't hear us. But I do like the fact he tried to get that run by, and that's actually going to kind of awaken Desro to the fact that run bys can still occur despite the fact you're actually up at your front door. And he's actually going to push on out here and apply a little bit of pressure of his own. Transferring drones on down into that third base is Jig, and he's looking great. Again, he's just kind of timing that a little bit off, trying to get that hatch up so he can actually start mining away. More and more lings are heading across the map here. This is actually going to be really, really scary because these forces are horribly out of position. They're not going to be able to defend this third.
No, and the base should be able to get knocked down. Other lings are rushing to intercept. Those sentries are out of position. Oh, he could have definitely got a couple of them, but meanwhile, his third base still under some heat. I'd love if Jig would just focus this down, not waste his time with the Zealots whatsoever, but now he can get his ground on those sentries, and that's exactly what he wants. And all three of the sentries are going to go down. Stalker as well, and this third base will also fall.
This is a huge victory for Jig, exactly what he needed this early in the game, taking care of a lot of valuable army units like sentries, like the Stalker, and then on top of that, going straight for that Nexus. He'll be able to kill that off easy peasy, and then at that point, he will be able to continue to macro up really, really well.
Yeah, might get that last sentry. No, it looks like not. We'll go for Colossus set, but I want to point out, I didn't catch this. He went for a very quick infestation pit. My curiosity strikes, what is Jig going to follow this up with? Is it going to be a fast hive? Is it going to be for level 3 weapon upgrades? We'll have to wait and see. In fact, going for a Spire? That... Okay, well, Mutalisks and Corruptors are great, of course, in the matchup. Mutalisks in general, and of course, Corruptors versus Colossus, but I don't understand the infestation pit.
No, it's kind of scratching my head on that one as well. Maybe it's so that he can push up to Hive as quickly as he can, but that is a very early infestation pit. There's no real need for that investment just quite yet if he's planning on going Muta.
See this? Oh, he saw the Spire. He saw the Spire with that Observer. That Observer is a hero. You'll notice 2 Stargates are coming down right now because it is the only appropriate response to seeing a Spire this late in the game. You cannot dance around Mutalisks with Blink Stalkers. They just don't cut it. Archons are okay, but they rely on your opponent being incompetent, which Jig certainly is not. So double Stargate, double Phoenix production. This is how Desra's going to combat anything that comes out of this.
Indeed, and I do need to kind of drive at the point that, I mean, Desra has been scouting obscenely well this entire game, and it's one of the things that he's been very good at, despite the fact that Jig has been poking and prodding and trying to attack the economy of Desra. Desro's basically got Jig's name, number, license plate, and postal code because of all the scouting he's been doing. He's been going in with observers. He's been flying in constantly, and you can see these lings just tearing across the map everywhere, trying to find every single little probe and pylon and everything. And in fact, Creep's starting to push out here with 3 queens as well. Jig looking so strong at this particular point in the game.
Yeah, we got the Void Rays coming out first because Phoenixes are much cheaper. They produce faster, and if he sees... Like, his assumption is, I've got Colossus, so my opponent will get Corruptors. And that's why we have Void Rays coming out first. If he saw something like a Mutalisk, or something to give away the fact that it would be Mutalisks, we would have certainly seen the Phoenix first. But luckily, Phoenixes produce fast, they're produced cheap, and if there's a lot of Mutalisks, Desra will have no problem making units to deal with them.
Yeah, and Void Rays are great at raising buildings as well down in the late game. They have just so many more applications. Mutalisk, obviously...
We got Neural Parasite. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt you because this is something you never see anymore. The range was nerfed in Heart of the Swarm, and because of that, it's so rarely utilized. I'm wondering if this is a misclick, a mistake, because Pathogen Glands was never researched.
No, that's true, and yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see this. If he goes with it, I'd love to see it. Pathogen Glands is obviously a necessity.
Yeah, this is weird. 6 Ultras come out. Oh my god, what is... Okay, so to explain to people, the Colossus are going to get destroyed. Sentry Force Steals are useless because the Ultras are massive units and they'll squish them, but the Void Rays will do a ton of damage to these Ultralisks. My fear is, again, this Neural Parasite seems like a big misclick to me, and it is a big misclick. It
is, unfortunately. It's still continuing to finish. I think he might be a little surprised later on when he's maybe looking for a different upgrade. Instead, he's going to have to retreat back here. The Lings are trying to poke and prod. It does look like Chitinous Plating is about a minute and a half away. We do have Adrenal Glands as well to augment those Lings even further. This is an upgrade I don't see all that often, to be perfectly frank. As well as +1 melee weapons and a Carapace. Basically everything to make Ultralisks as awesome as humanly possible. More and more of them actually in production. How many do we have on the map so far? 6, with 2 more coming on out.
And I want to point out a lot of queens to go hand in hand with them. They will transfuse the heck out of them, but the Adrenal Glands will be a huge addition to this army. Desra now kind of surprised, realizing, oh man, I really need Immortals to deal with this.
And he needs them quickly. He's got 2 of them coming out. Is he chrono boosting them? That's the question here.
The Adrenal Glands, though, are going to be really important for connecting, not just with the Immortals, but making run-bys that much more effective. It's not a significant damage boost. It is only 20% on units that do very low damage, but you can flood Lings. You get them across the field in an instant, and they're basically, well, not cheap, not free, but cheap, free damage.
Indeed. I'd like to see a couple Overlords along with this group, just to speed on Creep, to just kind of give it a little bit more mobility for these Queens to be able to catch up. Because if there's one thing about this force, it's really supported by these Queens. And without the queens directly in relation to these Ultralisks, they really can't do too much. So
and let's not forget, this is everything. This positioning, this game, this is Jig's tournament life on the line. One mistake and he's out.
yeah, he needs this to win. He needs this to win badly. And it does look like Desro is going to push on over, see what he can do as far as damage going. And he's got himself a little bit of a problem because Zealots are going to melt very quickly to this many Ultralisks.
Yeah, hallucinating some Archons, but of course the hallucination's not really a problem. They take the extra damage with the Ultras go right through them. But the other 3 Ultras are stuck behind the Queens, and this is really important. Half of his army cannot connect, and these Immortals are going to make mincemeat out of the couple Ultras that are stuck behind the Queens.
No, this is so bad. Void Rays are going to engage the Corruptors, but that being said, these Ultras, there's still 2 of them parked behind. Immortals are just going to pound it into them, and the Queens are effectively rendered completely useless without something to support. And they're just going to turn on and head on out, but they're dead meat.
You don't need force fields when your opponent has queens, apparently.
Yes, unfortunately, that is the truth. And just taking a look, what's left? Where are we at? Well, it's 76 supply to 84 supply. The bulk of it being Lings and a couple of Ultras that are coming in, some Corruptors. But certainly not the lead that he had before.
I mean, he's on 5 bases. Let's not forget that. So, yes, he's throwing away units right now, but he can afford to do that for the time being. Desro can't max out nearly as quick as Jig can, and Jig's going to have, quite frankly, a lot of useless units, however. These Corruptors, as long as Desro doesn't reproduce Colossus, they're going to be useless for the time being, and he knows this. That's why we see a Greater Spire coming out.
That's true, and realistically, at this particular point in time, Desro is in a great position. He's going to push on forward, take out that base on the left-hand side of the map. I guess you call that the 5th base. The workers are going to escape. A quick blink forward is going to try to take care of them. However, the Lings are going to push on forward, and that is going to dissuade Desro from trying to continue that attack on over that direction. With that being said, Desro definitely has a better unit composition as it sits just at this particular point in time. There is the Greater Spire, so perhaps we'll see Broodlords.
It's always going to be a necessity to see the Broodlords. These Corruptors in the air are useless right now. Unless Desro showed that he had some more Colossus on the field, these are wastes of supply. And of course, you don't want to suicide them. He's got to make the best use of them that he can. So the Broodlords are an excellent choice.
Absolutely, and they should do a fair bit of damage. There is a base being taken on the right-hand side of the base, or rather on the right-hand side of the map. There is a pile of Lings here, but they are going to suicide a number of them, trying to engage all of these Stalkers as well as these Immortals. There's a good number of Zealots in there for good measure, but at the end of the day, the Desro's force looking so good. I just want to look at the upgrades really quickly. Yes, it is +3 weapons on these Immortals.
But no armor, so these Broodlings, these Zerglings, only 1 armor upgrade, but still, these Broodlings and Zerglings are going to tear through this.
Oh yeah, very quickly, whereas at the same token, these Broodlings and Zerglings will have 3/3 upgrades. And they are going to be able to do a lot of damage very quickly. And you can just see that everything's just kind of coming together. Where are those Corruptors and those Broodlords? There's more Corruptors on the way. Broodlords in the skies. It's so beautiful. 12 of them in total. This is going to be a devastating force for which Desro really doesn't have a very good answer for. The Immortals do so. Immortals and Zealots useless, yep. Oh, this is good.
Sadly, here come the Broodlords. He gets the recall out, but he won't scout the Broodlords just yet. This is going to be his first telling. Now Desro's aware, and he's getting Tempest out. Tempest, of course, when you've got, I think, it's 3 or 4. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can one-shot the Broodlords. They have like 86 damage versus Massive.
They do a good job against that. The question is how much damage can Jig do before the Tempest pop? That's the question.
He just needs to bust the defenses that allow these Lings to start flooding in. And as we see cannons at every base, we see defenses at every base. These Broodlords are on a timer, make no mistake, guys.
They're getting caught a little bit out of position here. However, the Broodlings are starting to work away and nibble on absolutely everything, push everything back. But
yeah, that lack of armor out of Desro right now is really hurt. Meanwhile, Lings and then 1 Ultras do take out the right side of the map, and Desro restricted back to 3 bases, but effectively only barely mining off of 2.
Yes, and he's in a lot of trouble here. Like you say, that armor upgrade being the Achilles heel in this particular matchup. Broodlings are starting to rain down on top of this Protoss army. Corruptors are going to focus fire down onto these Tempests using the corruption ability as well.
I mean, the Tempests go down pretty quickly. They take like 5 Broodlords out with them. And I stand corrected, guys. It's 80 damage, not 86. You need 86 with the upgrades, of course. But, man, the Stalker's going to clean up these Corruptors. And Jig and Desro kind of equalize forces for the time being.
They do, and it looks like Desro's trying to chase down, take care of these remaining few targets of opportunity. He's going to blink up, take care of that one other Broodlord, and then try to clean up the trash. But meanwhile, that being said, Jig is reinforcing right now. 3 more Ultralisks on the way, more Broodlords also on the way. I think he's kind of picked his niche that it seems to work. He just needs to get slightly better engagements, and then he can actually take on Desro. But that being said, like you said earlier, he's on that 5 base economy. Desro is really just kind of mining off 1.5 bases right now.
I really want to see Jig get infestors on the field. Not a lot, but he needs the support of those units, or Mutalisks even. It's a weird thing to consider, but Mutalisk tech swaps this late in the game, Ultra Muta is pretty darn strong.
It is, but they would be would they be unupgraded? Let me just take a look.
Unupgraded. It's the fact that look at the grounds. What do you have? It's Stalkers. What is something Stalkers don't fare well against? Well, both Mutalisks and Ultralisks.
That is true. And
but meanwhile,
of course,
things are going to get in here. Can they break down the natural wall? The Colossus are coming back. The force field. Oh, they do hold just barely. But
they do get in, but only like 6 of the 15 or so that were parked up front. They're going straight on in. They're going to get some scouting. They're going to see that there is a Dark Shrine there. Trying to take care of some of these workers. Maybe somewhat advantageous in that regard. But it doesn't look like he's going to be able to really capitalize on that situation. They are going to flee out of the base. Desra, on the other hand, is going to go over and support this 4th base of his. Definitely does not want to lose that. He needs that to continue on with this late game play. But that being said, a very impressive force to say the least. There's some Immortals. Not Immortals, rather there is Ultralisks. There's a good number of Broodlords as well as Corruptors moving on over into the center of the map here, and that has alerted Desra a great deal, and he's trying to reposition at the same time.
I don't like the composition coming out of Jig. I mean, the Corruptors will take out the Tempest. They're armored units. They're not massive units. So once the Tempests go down, perhaps it's a little more effective for him to start utilizing the Broodlords. But Broodlords and Ultralisks, these are 2 units that alone don't fare too well. He's got no real support on the field other than like these flood of Lings and some Corruptors. And I mean, look at the army of Desro. I just don't think it's going to cut it, and especially with Storms involved.
Oh, and Phoenix sees actually that these Broodlords are horribly out of position here, and the Tempests are trying to chase them down, getting a lot of shots off.
Those things have some range.
Oh my goodness, do they ever? Like, I can't even keep them in the same picture. They're so far away.
Oh, hit Zed, man.
Wow.
Hit Zed, all your problems are solved.
Hey, there we go. Thank you so much. Storm's going down, trying to take care of these Ultralisks as well as back away at the same token. But that being said, Lings are engaging from the right-hand side, and that will do it, unfortunately.
So Nightshade, I guess you didn't know about the zoom out. Do you know about holding Shift Z?
Oh yeah, it locks it.
No, it double zooms it out.
Oh wow. I love this user interface. These are things I'm still learning. It's surprising, and I've been doing this for quite some time. You'd think I'd have actually read the hotkey menu. Go figure. But anyway,
All right, well, Lings are going to try and get in. They will get in. No force field on that whole position. Oh, actually, she's going to try and kill the Sentry, kill the Zealots. And again, I want to point out, guys, Desro only has 1 level of armor upgrades. These Lings are being literally 2 levels more effective than they should be.
Yes, indeedy. Lings versus Zealots. They'll get mopped up in just a couple of moments. But Desro, again, focusing on trying to defend that right-hand side base. There is a little bit of aggression going on the left-hand side here. 4 Zealots are going to try to take care of some business. Queens are going to show up. They're going to push that away. But that being said, that's going to free up Desro to push onto that right side base and take care of that 4th that's just been resaturated here. The workers are immediately getting pulled.
Zealots yet, by the way, just throwing that out. They're still trying their darndest.
Wow, these Zealots are just holding up really, really well. I'm surprised, actually, to be perfectly honest, especially considering their low armor upgrades. And that 4th does drop, and Desro just backs right on up. And I like this play by him, I have to say. I like the fact that he's not trying to hyperextend here. He wants to go for a very safe win.
I feel very strongly about this. If we saw Ling and Fester, like I'm talking old school strategies, Wings of Liberty style guys. If we saw Ling and Fester, I think Jig would take this game right now. But the compositions he's going for, I can only best describe as questionable. And I hope he wins this game so he can show me wrong and I'm an idiot. But I mean, quite frankly, the Broodlords are just not going to stand. As we see, they're getting popped off, each volley killing and just slaughtering them.
Yep, it's an absolute murdering fest. Blinking forward, taking care of the Queens, taking care of the Corruptors. There's a lot of Corruptors here to try and take care of these Colossus as well as the Tempest.
Look at the Stalkers. They blink forward with no Broodlords on the field. The Corruptors cannot shoot down. And yes, they'll clean up the Colossus. Yes, they clean up the Tempest. But what's going to deal with the Stalkers? The answer, 20 Lings that are coming out. Okay, see you in 20 seconds.
Exactly. And in fact, he's just going to continue to snipe down these Corruptors with those Blink Stalkers. I don't want to say it's game. I really don't. 54 supply to 80 supply, but
I
it's
think
just
it was game when we didn't see pathogen blends.
exactly. I don't want to say it, but it kind of is because there's just not enough here to really kind of catch this.
Well, actually, I keep forgetting the Lings have level 3 upgrades and there's only one armor in Desert, so these Lings are actually going to trade pretty effectively if they don't get caught by the couple of Archons here. If they get the surround off, if they can come in from angles which they don't get area of effect downed into, as we see, they're just shredding the Stalkers to bits.
They are. Nice storm going down. Oh my goodness, and catching the rest of them. Oh, that's going to do a lot of damage. And yeah, that's it. And a GG out of me at the very least. Jig has been eliminated from the tournament, ladies and gentlemen. Desro will advance to the final, I believe, yes?
Yeah, he should go on to fight Hendrilisk next, guys. So Desro versus Hendrilisk. It's a best of 5, but I need to remind you guys, Desro has to win 2 best of 5s to be sent to China to secure that #1 spot. Hendrilisk only needs to win 1. That is the advantage of the winner's bracket.
Indeed. So anyway, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Rifkin and I will be back in just a moment. I'm going to see if I can get a couple of these players in for a quick interview before we go into that final. I know that there is a lot of scheduling that's going on with regards to the finals themselves. I'll get some more information with regards to that as well. Because we are running League of Legends, World of Tanks, as well as a first-person shooter. I can't recall the name of it right off the top of my head.
All right, hang on. Before you do commercials, I've been corrected. It is a best of 3 like I thought it originally was.
Oh, it is.
It is best of 3, not best of 5. That's why I said it didn't make sense to do a best of 5 finals earlier.
Yeah, this is is it a best of 3 finals? Okay, fantastic.
It's 2 times best of 3 confirmed by Hendrilisk.
Excellent. All right, so that's very, very good. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. I'll get some more information. We'll be right back, and we're just going to do a quick commercial break.